Hello everyone, I'm going to go over my level 97 Witch Necromancer that has 80 million full DPS rounded up. And this build includes cast golems, raised zombies, summoning skeletons, and raging summoning spirits. The PoB for this build will be in the description below. At the end of the video, I will be doing a showcase of the build. And now I'm going to go over how I would level this build and a brief description of what the actual nodes that I'm going to be taking does. So without further ado, I'm just going to hop into it. Alright, my first step would be Lord of the Undead, which gives you more raised zombies and more skeletons. It also increases your minions' damage when you go to get it. Then I would go and get Death Attunement, and this gives you more Spectres, raised zombies, and skeletons. Both of these abilities are going to increase both of these nodes are going to increase your damage and your survivability. You can ignore the minion offensive mastery right there. It'll definitely be changed when I do the build, when I do the PoB for the description. So sorry about that. Then I get Sacrifice. Sacrifice is gonna, and I'll go to the right side of the sacrifice. Going to the right side of the sacrifice to get it increases your minions regeneration, life regeneration significantly, and it helps keep them alive. This is like the only talent node that I have on the tree that keeps my minions alive, and I never have any minions die, so I'm a firm believer that Sacrifice is the best minion node in the game to keep your minions alive with the gear that I use. After Sacrifice, you're going to swing down, grab all these goodies, and then you're going to pick up Grave Pack. And Grave Pack is going to increase your minions' damage a lot. And the minion offense mastery, I will go over that later on in the build and in the tree. You do not need to get it when you actually get to this point. So after Grave Pack, you're going to go up and you're going to get Redemption. And Redemption increases your minions' damage a lot. Then you are going to pick up Sovereignty. And Sovereignty increases your mana efficiency, so you could use more auras. And your first aura that you're going to want to use is Purity of Elements. Purity of Elements gives you really high elemental resists and makes you immune to elemental elements. I find it to be the best aura in the game, and I use it in every build that I do. After Sovereignty, you're going to want to pick up the health nodes. And there are like 3 major health nodes on the tree, and there's 3 of them. And you can pick them up in any order that you want. There's Purity of Flesh, there's Heart of Soul, and you also have Combat Stamina. And each one's a little bit different than the other one, but it's definitely up to you when you want to pick them up. And the Armor Mastery by Combat Stamina gives you 20% chance to defend with 200% of armor, which is really good. And then Life Mastery is definitely up to you. You don't even have to use it if you don't want to, but it's your choice. So the next thing you're going to do is pick up your block. So your first stop for block is going to be Whirling Barrier. And the reason you pick Whirling Barrier first is because it increases your spell block and your block attack while wielding a staff. And the mastery by it that you're going to want to pick up is 30% increased defenses while wielding a staff. Then you're going to go all the way back up by Lord of the Dead, and you're going to pick Animate Defense. And this does the same thing as Whirling Barrier. It increases your block chance and your spell block chance with the staff. Then you're going to come all the way back down by Grave Pack, and you're going to pick up Steelwood Stance. And this increases your block and your armor when you block. And the stat mastery that you want to pick up is recover 2% of energy shield and 2% of life when you block spell or block attack damage with your staff. And then after that, you're going to go up and you're going to pick Mystic Bulwark. At any time after level 34, while leveling, you can always pick up Golem Commander because this build uses cast golems, and Golem Commander will give you +1 golem, so you'll have 2 when you pick it up, and it also increases your golem's buff effect that it gives. And the cast golem buff effect increases your physical damage reduction, and it's really good. Then after that, you're going to pick up Influence. Influence is a very nice efficient hit pool buff, and you're also going to get a reservation efficiency when you get it, which is huge. In this build right now, I have Whispers of Doom going, so I could show you guys how much damage this does, full damage, but you don't need Whispers of Doom for this build. But I did it anyways, because if I didn't, my temporal chains that I'm using on my AG or my Animate Guardian wouldn't show up on the full DPS. And I'll go over that in the items, and I'll try to go over it a little bit more as I go through. Alright, and on this talent tree, I'm using Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter does 40% of damage taken from mana before life. And when you use that with Eldritch Battery becomes mana in essence because it's protecting your mana. And then it makes Mind Over Matter even better. Eldritch Battery makes it a lot easier for you to summon your Raging Summoning Spirits and your Skeletons because it becomes mana, and it regenerates much faster than normal mana would. And if you were trying not to use Eldritch Battery on a build where you summon a lot of Skeletons or Raging Summoning Spirits, it'd be really hard, and you'd have to spend vastly more nodes on the talent tree to make it work. So Eldritch Battery is huge. Okay, now I'm going to go over the cluster jewels. The cluster jewels that I have on the talent tree, and that's going to be in the path of building, are optimized really good. The passive skill form doesn't matter. What you're looking for is 35 increased effect, and you're also looking for minions that have 3% attack and cast speed. The other small passives also grant on the cluster is definitely up to you. And you might be able to get a really cheap one because the passive skill doesn't even really matter. So it'll be up to you. But when I got my cluster jewels, they were like 3 divine orbs. And I'm using practically the same setup on my other cluster jewel. Alright, I'm using the Animate stone, but I'm not using any primordial jewels to increase the amount of golems that I have. So this build only has 3 cast golems in it. I opted not to get another golem because I didn't want to sacrifice all those jewel sockets for primordial jewels to increase my golem numbers. So that's really cool. So by the end of the build, you're going to have 3 golems, cast golems. Then you have Ghastly Eye Jewels. And the stats that you're looking for on Ghastly Eye Jewels are this. The 2 main ones you're looking for are minions deal increased damage if you use a minion skill recently. And the second stat line that you're looking for is minions have a chance to poison enemies on hit. If you wanted more damage on top of the Ghastly Eye Jewel, you get minions deal cast or minions deal physical damage. You could get both of them, but it's going to be very expensive. And you want to try to get about 4 Ghastly Eye Jewels on this build to make sure that you increase the amount of damage that you're getting from your gaze. And I'll go over the gaze in a minute. Alright, here's the gaze. The gaze is a jewel. When you use Ghastly Eye Jewels with it attached to you, it increases the damage over time multiplier. And what you're using is poison in this build with your minions. So it's going to cause a great deal of damage on creatures, monsters, and bosses. and you can only have 4 ghastly eye jewels to get. All you need is 4 ghastly eye jewels to increase the effect of the gaze fully, and it only goes up to 30%. I'm gonna hop back to the tree. I'm gonna make sure I'm also using a Watcher's Eye, and the Watcher's Eye has cast resistance while affected by a period of elements, which is huge. Any way you could get cast resist and get it with just using an aura that you're doing is huge in my opinion. And then the second stat that you're going to be looking for is phasing while affected by haste. Phasing allows you to move through everything in the game. Monsters, frost wall, everything. So I said I would come back over and talk about this. The minion offensive mastery is 20 increased effective offerings, and that's going to be attached when you actually get Mistress of Sacrifice on the Ascendancy tree for Necromancers, and I'll go over that a little bit in a second. I'm also using the Forbidden Flesh and the Forbidden Flame, and the skill that skill or the ascendancy I'm using with that is Void Beacon, and I will go over that in a minute as well. Alright, I believe I went over everything in the tree. I'm going to go over the ascendancies and how I would pick my way through it, and you're going to have an option too. Your first step is going to be Commander of Darkness. What Commander of Darkness does is increases your elemental resists a lot. It does it by 30%, and it also gives your minions 30% increased elemental resist and 30% increased damage, and it also gives them increased attack speed and cast speed. It's a huge buff. It's really good for leveling. Your next step is going to be Mindless Aggression, and that increases your minions damage a lot. The last two are up to you, and I'll explain what they are. You have Unnatural Strength, which gives your minions Unholy Might. It's a huge DPS buff. And then you have the choice of actually picking up Mistress of Sacrifice. When you use offerings, when you get Mistress of Sacrifice, it gives you the effect by 50%. So when you use Bone Offering gives your minions like about 40% spell block and block chance. So you're getting half of that. And adding the minion mastery with the 20% increase in offerings, you're getting like about 35 spell block and block chance, which is huge. So Unnatural Strength and Mistress of Sacrifice are up to you. And then the last one that's coming from Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame is the Void Beacon. And this build is focusing on the negative 20% cast resist when you're nearby enemies. And it's also taking effect of reduced life regeneration rate by 100% while nearby enemies. Both of these are huge. But you cannot, but the path of building doesn't take into account mom not having any life regeneration. So the amount of DPS on this build might actually even be more. So that goes over the talent tree, I believe. I can't think of anything that I missed. So I'm going to jump into the skills really fast and explain the skills. This build has Envy, and you're getting the Envy from your Amulet. And I'll go over the Amulet and items in a minute. You also have Temporal Chains coming from your Animate Guardian. And you need gloves that curse on hit with Temporal Chains. There's a unique, I can't remember the name of it, that does it. And you need Wind Shriek boots on your Animate Guardian to make Temporal Chains go off. This is only going to work on bosses. It really doesn't have any like benefit of actually using it on monsters and trash. But on bosses, you're going to have 2 curses. Your Animate Guardian is going to be doing Temporal Chains, and you're going to be doing Despair. At the moment, I'm not sure how to make the full DPS recognize that my AG is actually doing Temporal Chains. So I had to do a little customization in my PoB, and I'll explain that in a little bit, or try to explain it as I go. The Commandment of Reflection is nonsense. You don't have to worry about it. and I'm using Molten Shell on an item on a ring that has a socket. And Molten Shell increases your survivability a lot when it's up. Alright, I'm gonna go over the summon cast golem and raise zombies. 6 link, or I should call them 5 links. Alright, I'm using I'm actually using the wrong golem. I guess it really doesn't matter. You could use whatever variant summon cast golem you want. It's going to be very inexpensive, and at the end of the build you should have 3 of them. Then I'm using multi-strike with a different variant. This cost me a divine when I got it, so it's going to be a divine or less. Normal default multi-strike is perfectly fine to use. Then I have Empowered 4, which is very expensive, but you could definitely use Empowered 3 to cut corners on your currency cost of the build. Then I have Awakened Minion Damage, which is a divine or less, and you could definitely use the default of just pure minion damage in this build to be fine. Then I have Raised Zombies Phantasmal 21. You do not need the level 21 Phantasmal. It does the most damage for the build, but a normal level 21 gem default variant of Raised Zombies will be fine. It'll be much cheaper and easier to get. Then I have Awakened Void Manipulation, and this probably goes for like about 3 to 5 divine, but you could definitely use the normal default Void Manipulation and you're going to be fine. Alright, that goes over that. I'm going to go into the Raging Summoning Spirits and the Veil Summoning Skeletons. And I'm using a level 21 Summoning Raging Spirit, different variant. And what the variant I'm using does is it allows you to have 2 more Raging Spirits. You don't need that. You just use the default and you're going to be fine with only 20. The damage of this build is really, really high, and the survivability is really good as well. So I'm not sure of the cost, but I don't think the Summoning Raging Spirits is going to cost that much with the different variant or default. Then I have Veil Summoning Skeletons, level 21. And this was very expensive. This was like 9 Divine Orbs for me. So you're probably going to want to try to get a Veil Summoning Skeletons level 20 gem, and it'll be much cheaper. And at the end of the build, you're going to have 10 Summon Skeleton Warriors at your disposal. And that's a lot of damage. Then I have Awakened Minion Damage, which is a divine or less, or you could use the default minion damage and you'll just be perfectly fine. Then you have Awakened Void Manipulation. This is probably like 3 to 5 divine, like I've been saying all along. The default Void Manipulation will be fine. Then I have Awaken Unleash, and Awaken Unleash is very expensive. It cost me about 8 divine, but the normal variant Unleash will work perfectly fine as well. And then I have Multi-Strike different variant, and this cost me a divine, but you could use default for this and you'll just be fine. At the end of the skills, I'm gonna put everything as a default, and we'll see how much damage it does. Alright, I'm going to go over the gloves. I have Desecrate, which allows you to use Bone Offering when there are no corpses around you. It also lets you summon your Raised Zombies and your Spectres. Then I have Despair, which are going to be hard casting, which is going to increase your damage a lot. I only use curses on bosses or map bosses. You're not going to need it on trash mobs. Then I have Purity of Elements, which I went over. Then you have Bone Offering. I went over Bone Offering. It goes with Mistress of Sacrifice. They go hand in hand, and it's going to increase your survivability a lot. Now I'm going to go over the Raised Spectres, and the 4-link for the Raised Spectres is you're going to be using Host Chieftains and Carnage Chieftains with your Raised Spectres. That's going to be in the PoB for you, so that's you'll know what to use. There's going to be 3 of these Raised Spectres as well. You're probably going to want to use 2 Carnage Chieftains because the Frenzy charges give you more damage than the actual power charges. So it's going to be 2 Carnage Chieftains and 1 Host Chieftain. With the Raised Spectres, we'll be doing Feeding Frenzy, which is going to be increasing your attack speed and attack damage for your minions. Calling Strike, which kills any enemy under 10% life. And then you have Withering Touch. Now, Withering Touch increases your Withering stacks, which increases your damage a lot. Okay, that goes over the boots. Alright, now the helmet. You have Determination, probably your second aura that you're going to want to be using in this build. And it's going to increase your survivability. Then you have the Animate Guardian. I went over that already. Any variant Animate Guardian is going to be fine. It's probably going to be really cheap. I have Veil Haste, but a normal haste will work as well. Veil Haste will cost more. I'm going to guess Veil Haste costs like about a Divine or less. But you could definitely use a normal default of haste. And then I have Withering Step. Withering Step increases Withering stacks when you use it. Excuse me. My variant that I have right now, Anomalous, increases the stacks of Withering by 9 when you touch a creature when you have it on. And then you add that on top of the Withering Touch that you are getting from your Raised Spectres. So it's typically going to be around 15 stacks, which is the max that you could have for Withering stacks on a boss. Okay, that goes over the skills. I said I was going to change everything really quick to see how much damage this does if everything was on normal. Just give me a second really quick. I'm going to try to do it really fast. Okay. I just want to see how much damage this build does when you're not using All Awakened. So you guys can know, like, I'm just going to leave Awaken Unleash. It doesn't really matter. So, okay. So far it is 73.4 million full DPS. We'll put this to default. We'll turn this to 3. We'll move this. Minion damage. We'll turn it to default. And then remove the Awaken on the Void Manipulate. Okay, so everything at default for the summon cast and raging for the raging summoning spirits and the summoning skeletons and the raised zombies, your damage still comes out to 66 million rounded up full DPS, which is crazy. So I just wanted to show you guys that really quick. So it's going to be 66 million full DPS on just default. Alright, I'm going to go over the items really quick. And I'm using the cane, and I think the cane is the best item in the game for minions, hands down. I don't use anything else. I like to have 2 6-links on my character at all times. And the cane has gone from 6 to 40 divines in my experience of actually looking it up and trying to see how much it costs. And if you want to reduce the cost of this item, just remove the level of socketed support gems and the quality of socketed support gems and get the other stats on it. It should make it vastly cheaper than actually getting the other two main stats. The helmet cost me 8 divine, and it's perfectly optimized. The benchcraft is perfect, but you do not need chance to suppress spell damage, so it might be a lot cheaper for you. The Covenant is all white sockets. I got it for 3 divine, so your currency cost on it might be different. So I like getting all white sockets for as much stuff as I can. This is a really good item and it increases your full DPS a lot. Then you have Triad Grip, and all the sockets are going to be white. The last time I checked, this was going for 5 divine orbs, and the enchant doesn't matter on it. What these gloves are supposed to do, or what it actually does do, but doesn't do right now, is that when you have all white sockets, it makes your minions do all cast damage. And when you do cast damage only, you're supposed to bypass energy shields. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's not happening correctly right now on bosses. Maybe they fixed it or changed it. I mean by GGG, so I'm not sure. The boots, dime a dozen, you're going to be able to get good boots. I always look for increased movement speed. The necklace is very expensive. ME has no reservation. There's no other way around this item if you want to like have a lot of DPS. It does a lot of DPS. It costs 28 divine. And the enchant that you want to get on it is not Whispers of Doom. The enchant that you want to get on it is Charisma. And I put that in there. I'm going to have that in there too for you guys to see that. So you do not need Whispers of Doom on this. What you need is Charisma. And I believe Charisma is 2 golden oils and 1 transcendent oil. And that goes over the necklace. The bone rings that I'm using, actually I'm only using 1 bone ring. And it's really good optimized. It cost me a lot of currency to get it. But you'll be able to get a really good bone ring really cheap. That's maybe even closer, even better than what I have now. Then I have a Unset ring with a socket in it. I just picked up Dexterity, Max Life, and a bunch of Resist on it. It was really cheap. It cost me like 40 Gas Orbs today. So you could definitely optimize it the way that you want. You just want to use Molten Shell in there. Then I have the Darkness Enthroned, which is very cheap. And what that does is it increases the effect of Socket Abyss Jewels by 75%, which is really cool. I have the Gaze and I have a Ghastly Eye Jewel attached to the Darkness Enthroned. Then I have the Blood, and the Blood is a really cool flask. I think it's very overpowered, but I'm going to let you know what it does. It recovers your life, but after 2.7 seconds, it gives you full life. I find this to be highly useful on maps where you cannot get full health regeneration. That full life at the end of the effect helps a lot. Then I have the Pro, and the Pro does one hit during an effect, 25% of life loss from damage taken occurs over 4 seconds instead. So, and an enchant on it is use when charges reach full. This is expensive. Last time I checked, it was going for 12 divine. I got it very cheap because I got it in the beginning of the league. But you do not need to use the Pro. You could definitely use a granite flask that increases your armor. And then the stat lines on it, or the mods that you want to have on the Granite Flask, are up to you. The Granite Flask probably won't even cost you more than 10 gas, if that. Then I got the Flask that gives you block chance and spell block chance, and the enchant I have on it is use when charges reach full. And very cheap, you'll be able to get it. It also gives you armor, and I have the enchant use when charges reach full. Then I have a Quicksilver Flask, and I have Bottle of Faith. The last flask on my belt, or whatever, flask belt, or whatever you want to call it, is free, and you can use whatever you want. And I just used the Bottle of Faith for a little bit more damage and a little bit more survivability. I went over all the jewels, so I'm going to jump into the configurations really fast. And the gods, the major and minor god, are up to you. You could follow mine, but I think that the game creators or GGG want you to use the major god and minor god depending on what situation you're doing. So you're going to be. Let me check something really quick. Yeah, actually, I'm going to change the PoB to just Carnage Chieftains because the power charges don't do anything for this build. I apologize. So you're going to have 3 Carnage Chieftains, which are from Old Fields in Act 2. You have Elusive from Withering Step. Are Flasks active? Yes. Are you on Consecrated Ground? Yes. You have the Bottled Faith. Have you been hit recently? Probably. Have you blocked recently? Yeah, probably. Have you used a minion skill recently? Yes. We will be using a minion skill a ton. Have you consumed a corpse recently? Yes. And the number is probably going to be 5. Is Feeding Frenzy active? Yes. You have the Spectres doing it for you with the 4 link. Then you have Withering Stacks 15 from the Withering Step and Withering Touch from your Raised Spectres link. And is that Consecrated Ground? Yes, it is. And that's from the Bottle of Faith, the flasks that you have. The Guardian Pinnacle boss, I went over this in the full DPS, but without all the default gems, it's going to be 80 million. So I can't really tell you what the Pinnacle boss one is going to be, so you're going to have to look at that yourself. Alright, it's action time. I'm going to hop into the game and start playing this build for a little bit. I'm going to do a couple of maps, and I'm going to throw in a boss. I don't have much in the way of bosses right now, so I apologize. I believe I have Maven, so I could do Maven. Yeah, I have Maven. I'll do Maven, which I'll probably die on. I have Ceres as well. Cool, excellent. I guess I have more than I thought. So I'm going to do like 2 or 3 maps, and I'm going to do Ceres and Maven and the Elder. So, okay, this is going to be a pretty long video. And I could do a Maven invitation as well. So, I just need to find some maps that I haven't done for the Maven the Witness. Just let me pick some ones here. I'm going to try and find like a small one. Wasteland's kind of big, but I like doing it. It's one of my favorite maps. Nice wide open spaces, nice and easy. The boss can completely annihilate you with the charge. How many do I need? I need like 2 of them, I think. Yeah, 2 of them. Alright, let me grab one more map. And I'll do the Bell Pyramid map. This one's kind of hard. A lot of rooms and sections, very dense with creatures. I'm going to use Fortune Favors the Brave as well when I do them, so I can increase some monster packs. Alright, very easy build. It's kind of labor intensive because you have to make sure that you have bone armor going, bone offering going. But you definitely want to have bone offering going because it's going to protect you from dying. You practically have max block and max spell block and nose itches. This map is like a bunch of rooms, like medium, small, large rooms. So, just working on through the map. This map is kind of confusing too. It's kind of like a maze of squares, but small and large rooms. Just try to keep bone offering going for solid protection. As you've noticed, I'm using molten shell on my launching button, so I don't have to worry about activating it. I know that's not ideal, but I like doing it that way because it makes it easier, and I know that it's always going off. You could always use Val Summoning Skeletons whenever you want for like a low DPS increase. I just used it. So the final 50 is really my own favorite, so I'm always getting a ton of them. I only get to sell them all the day, so just going smooth. This build has really good damage, and it also has really good survivability. I believe the effective hit pool with everything going is like about on Pinnacle Guardian boss is like 150 to like 180,000, which is really good if you ask me. Here's the arena. Oh, excuse me. you go. Alright, one more map and I'll do the invitation for Maven. Can do the Wastelands. Then I got 3 bosses lined up. And pop this breach. See if I could kill myself for you guys. No, it's not. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, right? Alright. Get some butt. It's really hard to make sure that you keep offering up all the time because it's such a short duration buff that you get. But try to make sure that you have it up all the time. It's going to increase your survivability a lot. And the reason why it's helping your survivability a lot is because you're using Mistress of Sacrifice on the Ascendancy tree. And that's allowing you to get the block and spell block chains from the offering that you're using. And I don't care about the breach. I just want to finish the map. I typically only use skeletons when clearing trash, but if I do a boss and I have time, or if I'm fighting one and I have time, I'll use Raising Summoning Spirits. The reason I do that is because Raising Summoning Spirits doesn't really summon as many as the skeletons. It does because you have Unleash going, but for some reason I like doing skeletons first. I guess you could do Raising Summoning Spirits at first too, but if you constantly keep using it, you're not going to get as many as you would just summoning skeletons. Or you could alternate between skeletons and Raising Summoning Spirits, and that should probably be a really good way of doing it. Just looking for the boss now. I should die on this video. I'm going to be doing a couple of bosses. Doing Maven perfectly is really hard to do. Alright, there goes the boss. I'm going to throw in the Maven invitation. Just pop this one off. Here's what's on it. I typically die on these. A lot of stuff going on and everything else. Just gonna summon my Raging Summon Spirits. Everything's good to go. Alright. Everything's looking good so far. Summon those skeletons. Be gone. There's some orbs from a Maven. That was nice and easy. I might have a couple more maps I could do for you guys. But I'm gonna do Maven first. Just get the death out of the way. Maybe I'll be able to kill her without dying. Who knows? But her last phase is just really, really hard. Just a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to do the hopscotch at the end. was just sitting there and standing there, and it's okay. Alright, we got Big Ugly here. He's gone. A little bit more of a hopscotch. Get rid of the Maven really fast. Alright, we got Big Ugly coming again. Alright, he's going away again. Alright, there's Maven. Some more hopscotch. I wish you could change the color of the hopscotch color to like red to make it like more noticeable for you. Alright. Oh, what the? Oh my god, I just got bad. Oh, that was ugly. Okay. I can figure out these down for the final phase of Kingdom now. There's just so much crap on the ground right here. It's so hard to do this. Alright, I got owned again. Alright, hopefully I could come in and take her out really fast. Oh man. I guess not. Alright, she gone. Took a little bit. Alright, the Awakening of Worlds is coming up now. I'm definitely gonna do a Hydra. And I also have the Drox fight. Alright, here comes Awakening of Worlds. Now I gotta sit here and listen or read Awakening of Worlds complain about everything. He's gonna kill everybody. I'm hoping I could do this fight deathless. It should be a pretty easy fight. I should be able to burn him at the end of the fight without him being able to do anything. Alright, I'll run in and rush him so he can't really do anything to me. Here we go. He's gonna float on down. Pretty fast. I like Jimmy John's fast. Alright, activating the fight again. to finish the fight. Just throwing fireballs at me. Which way do I go to activate them? This looks tricky. I don't know what to do here. I'll try to go this way. Yeah, I was trying to push the fight. My bad. Drop down, get beat up a little bit. Now I'm just going to activate for the last phase and hopefully I can crush them. He's coming my way. Slowly but surely, he's coming to his inevitable doom. Alright, gotta get everything summoned. Ooh, that was fast. He's gone. Excuse me. I'm gonna pop in the Elder. See how the build works against her. Quick Elder, and then I'll do 2 Guardian Knights for you guys, and that'll be the end of the video. Elder should drop dead really fast. Bright light, bright light. Killing the portals. I'm waiting for the Elder to spawn. I think she's gonna spawn soon. You could always use Flesh Offering on this build too, and it should be fine if you want more DPS. It really doesn't matter. That was the Elder. Now I'm going to pop the 2 Guardians, and that's going to be it. Let's do this one. This is a really hard map. Toxic Sewer. Very, very narrow, with like a little winding hallways. Very scary map. you could die really easy on this man. If you didn't have phasing, you definitely could get all of this man. I might even die right now because it's not easy. Very claustrophobic, a lot of creatures, very narrow, winding hallways. The last boss is a gigantic spider that spits like a lesser multiple poison. See, they're just hitting me all over the place. I'm going to take a second to get my energy shield going again for my mana. A little bit more protection. I think the boss room is right here, yeah. Oh, I shouldn't use that. Oh well. The boss is down. I'm still getting hurt. Alright, make my token portal. Go in. Alright, let's see how fast I can burn this guy. I've got my skeletons up. And I'm summoning my Raising Summoning Spirits. Smoked. Alright, I'll just do Hydra really quick and call the video finished. So peaceful and quiet around here. This is another boss fight that you could die on really easy because he has like little water sprouts flying all over the place. You gotta like dodge him. It's a pretty scary fight. I'll try to burn him before you can do anything though. Like I said, just summon some skeletons, pop Raising Summoning Spirits if you need to. Try to always keep Bone Offering going. I know it's not easy. This is a pretty big map. Like some squares with some corridors. It's pretty spacious though. It's not as claustrophobic as as a toxic sewer is here. There's a boss. Alright, we're gonna throw on my portal. Rush them, because you can't really summon skeleton or anything in this fight. You gotta leave them. Let's hope they're gonna be able to smoke them. No. Smoke. Alright everybody, thank you for watching. Please be safe and careful. You never know what's gonna happen, so please be safe. I definitely want you guys to come back and watch my video. As always, till next time, have a nice day. Please show some love and sub. Bye. Thanks for watching.